right, now we are on multiplying monomials, which is note 6-2. And if you notice, they start with number 17 because 6-1 and 6-2 were originally together and we split it up. So for multiplying monomials, we're going to use what's called the product rule. Now this rule is on your formula chart, so it's something that's given to you for the STAR test, so it's not something you need to memorize. So the product rule says x to the a times x to the b equals x to the a plus b. This pen is not any good. I need to chunk it. Okay, so now what we're going to do, can't find the color I want, is you are just going to add your exponents. So when I have x squared times x to the third, these don't have a coefficient, a number in the beginning, so all I have to do is 2 plus 3. So I get x to the fifth when I do 2 plus 3. Okay, for 18 is going to be on you. So for number 19, we're going to do 7 plus 4. And 7 plus 4 gives me 11. Now I'm going to give you a hint on 18. There is a 1 right here. If they never write a letter, a number, they never write 1, so you might want to add it yourself. Now, examples with coefficients. If you actually have a coefficient, and this is a number at front. Number at the front. Okay, you're going to multiply the coefficients, and then you're just going to use the product rule, which means add exponents. Okay, so multiply coefficients, add exponent. So starting off, we are actually, I'm going to skip now, and I'm going to do the evens. So if I have 4x squared plus 3x to the fifth, the first thing that I am going to do is I'm going to do 4 times 3. Well, 4 times 3 is 12. And then I take my letters, so I have 2, and I add it to 5, and that gives me 7. So that's where I get my two things. I'm not going to write this every time, but just showing you 4 times 3 coefficients, 2 plus 5 exponents. My final answer would be 12x to the 7th. Okay, for 22, we're doing 5 times 6, so that would be 30. And then 2 plus 4 gives me 6, so 30x to the 6th. For number 24, we are going to do -7 times -4, which is 28. And then P9 and P2, so do one letter at a time. 9 plus 2 gives me 11. Q3, Q6. 3 plus 6 gives me 9. And R and 4, that'd be a 1. So 1 plus 4 gives me 5. And there's my final answer. Okay, for 26, we're going to do 2 times -5 times 3. Even though there's 3 pieces, you can do them all at the same time. So 2 times -5 is -10, and then -10 times 3 is -30. If you need to use your calculator, you could show it all at one time. So 2 times -5 times 3, -30. Okay, and now I add my letters. They're all Y's, so I'm going to do 1 plus 2 plus 3. 1 plus 2 plus 3 gives me 6. Okay, for 28, I'm going to do -2, and there's a 1 right here, and then a 3. So -2 times 1 is -2, and then -2 times 3 is -6. Okay, I'm going to take my x's first. I have a 1, and a 2. So 1 plus 1 plus 2 is 4. For my y's, I have a 1, and a 3. 1 plus 1 is 2, and 2 plus 3 is 5. So -6x to the 4th y. Now, before I move on to the next one, I want to give you a really big hint on 27 that this is a -1 right here. There is not a -a. It's a -1. Letters can't be negative. So there's a 1 here, a 6 here, and a -1 there. Now you can multiply. Okay, for number 30, I'm going to multiply first. So here we go. We're going to do 8 times 10, and 8 times 10 is 80. And then I add 2 plus 3 gives me c to the 5th, and 1 plus 5 gives me d to the 6th. So 80 c to the 5th, d to the 6th. For 32, don't let those fractions be hard. We're going to do -6 times 1/2, and -6, if you want to see this in your calculator, it helps if I type it right. -6 times 1/2 is -3. And then A's first, so 2 plus 1 is 3, so A⁻³. 1 plus 1 is 2, so B squared. Okay, moving to 34, we're going to do 1/4 times 8 times -6. That gives me -12. Okay, now I add my letters. So I have a 1M and a 2M. So 1 plus 2 gives me 3, even though there weren't any here. That's not a big deal. And then I have an N here and 2 here. So 1 plus 2 is also 3. So this is -12, M to the third, N to the third. Now let me move this up just a little bit. So 36 and 38. This is now mixed practice. So what you are going to have to do, I'm going to turn this, you're going to have to multiply first and then add or subtract, whatever problem you have. Okay, so for number 36, we're going to multiply this side first. 4 times 5 is 20. Now I add my letters. 3 plus 1 gives me A⁴, and 4 plus 2 gives me 6. I bring down that plus sign. There's a 1 right here. So 1 times -2 is -2, and 2 plus 2 is 4, and 5 plus 1 is 6. Now, in order to add, you have to have the exact same exponent. So A4B6, A4B6, they are the same. So you're just going to do 20 plus -2. And 20 plus -2 is 18. So I have 18 A4B6 because you do not change your letters when you're adding. Reference your notes from yesterday. Okay, for 38, first thing we're going to do is going to multiply this side. -5 times -3 is 15. C1 and C4, 1 plus 4 makes C5. D1 and D1, 1 plus 1 makes 2, so D squared. Keep that minus sign. 7 times 2 is 14. C2 and C3, 2 plus 3 is 5. I have a D squared and there's no other D's, so I just keep D squared. Now, in order to actually do the subtraction, my letters have to be the exact same, so C5, D2. Well, this is also a C5, D2, so all I'm going to do is 15 minus 14, which is 1, and I keep my letters the exact same, C5, D2. So my answer is 1C to the 5th D squared. Now I'm going to have you complete the problems that I did not do, so if you have any questions, ask, get a friend to help you, ask me.